In this video, we're going to talk about, will resolving my conflict heal my gut? This is a question I get a lot from people who are first learning G&M, and you need to understand how your biological special program is unfolding. You need to understand what you're dealing with. If you don't understand what your body is doing on the organ level, like what your gut is doing, then you can't heal because you don't know what the issue is. So in this video, stay tuned, and I'm going to show you how myself and my students can eat whatever they want with no risk to be going into a flare. You get to eat whatever you want, go out with your friends, have a piece of cake on your birthday. You have to understand how this works. You have to understand this. So we're going to talk about conflicts and how these stressful situations that catch you off guard, these conflict shocks, these DHSs, we're going to talk about how this factors into the equation, because a lot of people put emphasis on this when they shouldn't be. So a conflict shock is a stressful event that catches you off guard and gets registered. And for people with gut issues, it gets registered on one of your gut organs. So this will be an indigestible morsel conflict. If it's experienced as anger, it will register in your small intestine. If it's experienced as an ugly, like a more ugly, sinister, dark conflict, indigestible morsel conflict, it's going to register on your colon. In a general indigestible morsel will register on your stomach. But we also have some things like anal fissures, we have constipation and stomach ulcers. These are conflict active symptoms. So when you are, hit with these conflicts, and you can't avoid these things. Some people think that you can be a more happy person and, meditate and all that stuff. It could possibly help you avoid these conflicts, but a lot of these things are unavoidable. Someone does something nasty to you, you go through a breakup. These are things that it doesn't matter how you perceive the world. These things are stressful events that, threaten your livelihood, and it's going to activate one of these programs. Now, for the vast majority of you, you've already resolved the conflict. If you are dealing with Crohn's or colitis or IBS, these conditions that kind of, just go on and on and on forever, you have already resolved your conflict and you're stuck in the healing phase. Now, if you have stomach ulcers or constipated or anal fissures, or someone with a cancer, some sort of a cancer, then the vast majority of you are stuck in the conflict active phase here. This is the conflict active phase. So this is someone, a normal person. You have a normal vagatonic and sympathetic state. You're sympathetic during the day, you're vagatonic at night. And then this wham, you get hit with this conflict shock, and it throws you into the conflict active phase. This is when you might have cold hands and cold feet. You have restlessness. You're obsessed about fixing this problem. And these symptoms do not show up for quite a while. It has to be a pretty intense conflict, and it has to last for quite a while for these symptoms to show up. And then once the conflict gets resolved, that's when you get a lot of your symptoms. So if you have Crohn's or colitis, you are not going to experience any symptoms during the conflict active phase. You might get diagnosed with cancer if you're conflict active for a very long time, but it's very, very, very rare, and doctors won't test for it. It's just not normal to test for, and you won't have any symptoms. You will not have any symptoms. That's why it never gets caught. So here, when you resolve the conflict, this is when this is essentially when people get diagnosed with Crohn's disease, because this is where all the symptoms come from. So it's not about resolving, unless it's one of these issues, it's not about resolving the conflict. It's about identifying and neutralizing your tracks. These are things that keep you trapped in the healing phase. I need you guys to understand that. Because a lot of people with Crohn's and colitis, I'll get this question. I have Crohn's or colitis. What conflict do I need to resolve? Will resolving my conflict heal my Crohn's and colitis? And no, it won't, because you've already resolved the conflict. Now, identifying what the conflict was will help you understand your tracks. So I'll give you an example. When I was growing up, I like to play video games, and my parents hated when I played video games. They would yell and they would scream at me. They would hide the controllers, hide the adapters. Every once in a while he would smash it over his knee or throw out one of my games in the trash. Very, very traumatic experience for me growing up. I remember me and my brothers would wake up really early and play games late at night, and we would listen for my parents' footsteps, and the second we would hear the doom 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 doom, we would run and turn off the TV and pretend to sleep. And so I remember my digestive issues starting around the time my dad was in the military, and what did he do? So we moved, and we didn't know anybody. It was the summer, and we had some friends come over. My parents had some work friends come over, and they brought their kids, and they had this cute daughter. And my brother, being a ladies' man, he wanted to impress her. So what he did is he jumped out of a 2-story tree to impress her and broke his arm. And so what my dad did to punish us was, because we were there watching him, it just all happens so fast, you don't know what to do. So, but what my dad did to punish us is he said, you should have talked sense into your brother. You shouldn't let him jump out of the tree like that. No Nintendo for you guys, no video games for you guys for the rest of the summer. And that was essentially a death sentence for us back then. That was just, it wasn't fair. It was that I still can't handle it. It was an indigestible morsel for me, and that's what I remember. After that time, that was when diarrhea became a normal part of my life. Probably around that time, and so and it's a reoccurring, and that's my track. When I feel guilty for playing too many video games, which can happen pretty often. And so, I'm getting off topic with the conflict, and I would love to hear your guys' conflict. What conflict started it? So when the Nintendo got taken away from me, I start to obsess about the problem. I'm not going to get any symptoms, but I'm going to be obsessed with the problem. Okay, where did my dad hide the controllers? How can I create a situation for myself so I can play video games, outsmart my dad, blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm doing in the conflict active phase. And I'm building up extra gut cells to help me digest this indigest. And I knowing myself, I probably experienced it as anger, so it's going to register on my small intestine. So I'm obsessed about the problem. My body's trying to help me digest this indigestible morsel, but by giving me more gut cells to help me absorb it and digest it. And then when it gets resolved, my dad finally gives us the controllers back, or I come up with a system where I get to, do what I want. That's when I go into the healing phase, and then that's when I get the diarrhea, the gut pain, and the blood in your stools. It just depends on how severe and intense and long the conflict active phase was. And that's essentially what's it. You now understanding what the conflict is going to help me identify what the tracks is. But I want to stress, if you have Crohn's, if you have colitis, you have already resolved your conflict. And some of you, it's fresh. It happened within the past few years. You will know exactly what the conflict is. For me, I had suppressed that. That happened for me. I was in middle school, so that was probably 15 15 years ago now. The very, very long time ago, so it's hard for me to remember that. I mean, maybe after 6 months of knowing German New Medicine, I finally sat down long enough and, I identified enough tracks. I used the clues. It's kind of like a detective case to put this together. But again, I'm not even 100% sure. That could have been one of the stressful events that initially caused my gut disease, my Crohn's disease. But again, it wasn't that. I mean, it's like that thing is just supposed to happen, and you get rid of those cells and you're fine. But what happened is, I started getting diarrhea, then I started to blame it on dairy and soda and stuff like that. And every time I experienced those foods, I would get symptoms, and it's kind of like this vicious cycle that runs out of control if you don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. So what I'm trying to explain to you guys with this video is, it's not all about the conflict. The conflict is what started it. It's what turned on the special biological program. And we know this because we're going to see a Hammer focus. We're going to see a ring-shaped formation on our brain scans where the small intestine is controlled. Everyone who has Crohn's or small intestine inflammation is going to have a ring formation in the exact same spot of their brain. Same thing for colitis, same thing if you have lung cancer, same thing if you have pancreatic cancer. There's all this ring-shaped formation on your brain scans is going to show up in the exact same place depending on what organ gets affected or what tissue gets affected. So again, the vast majority, if you have one of these symptoms, then yes, you need to identify and resolve that conflict as fast as possible. Stomach ulcers, GERD, acid reflux. This is, if you're a male, is territorial anger conflict. And if you're a female, it's an identity conflict. But if you have hormone issues as a male or a female, then they'll be swip-flopped. Constipation is for the intestinal muscles. This is an indigestible morsel that cannot pass. Anal fissures, which on the flip side of this, on the healing phase, turns into hemorrhoids. But if you have anal fissures, this could be a territorial anger conflict or an identity conflict that needs to be resolved. And then I'm not going to talk about cancers because it's such a rare case that happens. So, but yeah, guys, that's it. That's what we need to be aware of. And again, for the vast majority of you, you've already resolved the conflict, and it's about identifying and neutralizing tracks. That's what you need to do. So go down below. I'm really curious to hear what conflicts, caused your gut health train wreck. And, I'm really curious to hear what yours is, because I barely remember mine. It was so long ago. I remember the first time, being made fun of for having diarrhea was in middle school, And, it could have been a number of things. It could have been something about a girl, but most likely it was probably something with my parents, because in middle school, my parents are great, but in middle school, that's when, you learn all this stupid stuff from school, and you start getting in trouble for grades. I didn't do very well in school because school's stupid. And yeah, so anyways, guys, share your conflicts down below. But if you're serious about healing your gut issues so that you can eat whatever you want, never have to worry about a flare-up again, gain weight and go out and live your life, chase your career, go out and date, meet your future wife or husband, or just go out and hang out with your wife and kids, your spouse and kids, without crapping your brains out, sign up for our Rapid Gut Healing Program. It comes with video courses that go into great detail on every single gut organ you might have, on how these biological programs get turned on, and how to close them and keep them closed so you don't suffer from these nasty symptoms and allow the healing phase to complete. You are not broken. Your body is supposed to do this. The problem is we just leave these on. We leave them activated when we need to deactivate them. And I show you how to step-by-step do this in my Rapid Gut Cell Regeneration Protocol. It comes with videos. It comes with a workbook. We have a Facebook group where myself and my coaches answer all your questions, and we do live Q&As twice a week. And you get on the call and talk to us face to face. We'll answer all your questions. And now normally this is cost $1,000, and just for $1,000 is an amazing deal. If you go see any other health coach or any other health expert, they're going to charge you way more than that. So it's like $100, $200 an hour to get to talk to a health coach, and they're going to throw you in the wrong direction because they don't understand anything about what's going on the organ level, what's going on the brain level when someone has Crohn's or colitis. It's very simple. It's very straightforward if you know what's going on. But most people don't know this. They're going to tell you to buy supplements you don't need. It's a complete waste of time and money. We know what's going on. We've already, if you're thinking about trying something, we've already done it. I want to show you what works. This is easy. This is super easy to do. You can do this from the comfort of your own couch with a pen and paper. Honestly, when I first started using German New Medicine, my food intolerances disappeared overnight. And I've seen for people who have been in really bad cases, where they tried everything. Their food intolerances were gone overnight, and they gained like 5-10 pounds, within a week or two. And it's because you got to shut off these biological special programs. You got to close them. You have to close them. This is the root cause of the cell adaptation in your body, and we need to turn it off. So, and I show you how to do this in my Rapid Gut Cell Regeneration program, which we normally charge $1,000 for, but it's $500 right now, and that price increase it's going to increase randomly. It depends on how many people we have in the course at the time. So, I'm going to raise this price without warning, so I highly suggest that you get in there now while the price is low at half off. And 100% refund guarantee, action-based refund guarantee. If you come in and you use this and you don't get the results that you want, your risk is covered. We'll give you your money back. So I want to help you guys get better. I have a lot more German New Medicine videos coming for you. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.